Here we go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Wellness Foreplay. We are Dr. Dondi and Marcy Nettles. We are your hosts, and we are hoping today that this time that we spend together, that we are going to be able to educate you, maybe entertain you as well, but give you some information to help you be your best health advocate on things that matter. And this week, we're rounding out our series on happy hormones, right?
Oh, so important. And by the way, happy hormones have a lot to do with foreplay.
They do.
And foreplay
and vice
is
versa.
Always better when you're doing it with somebody else. So do us a favor, and as you hop on here, start sharing this out. Hit share if you're on here with us live on Facebook, just so you guys know. We actually are coming to you on my profile on Facebook. Marcy's here. Dondi's there. We've got another one going through possibilities from home here. We're also recording this for YouTube upload and to our podcast.
Yes.
The Wellness Foreplay podcast, if you want to go
available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Intune, iHeartRadio, Alexa, everywhere you find podcasts, you'll find our show.
So just go find it.
Just go find it. So, this is episode 11.
So we are Dr. Dondi, and I am Marcy Nettles. I am a former police detective, and you are?
I am a former family wellness chiropractor.
And so together we've come in and we're doing investigations now to be able to come up with information or knowledge that you need, that we know is the foreplay to your wellness. Because we want to give you all of the empowering information that you need to be able to be as well as you desire to be, which we all want that, right? We all want to be well. I mean, especially in this day and age, there's so much crap out there that's attacking us. We need to know what we can do personally to be as well as possible.
Right.
So this is actually episode 11.
Episode 11.
Wow.
Part 3 of our series on happy hormones. And before we get into the details, I have to let you know we are not here to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any diseases or give you information to do those things. We are simply giving you information to be your better health advocate so you can ask better questions and literally take responsibility for your health.
Yeah, most definitely. And like Dondi mentioned, this is episode 3 of a series, part 3, part C, part B, part 3 of a 3-part series that we've been doing on happy hormones. That's all about helping you understand what you need to get your daily dose of. And that's an acronym. The dose is an acronym
is a dose for the happy hormones, which are dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins.
Yeah, and today we're going to be covering the last 2, serotonin and endorphins, okay? So every week we pick, or every episode, we pick one topic and we have 4 questions that we answer around that topic. And so today, talking about serotonin and endorphins, the 4 questions that we're going to be answering today are, 1, what are serotonin and endorphins? The second one is, why are serotonin and endorphins so important? The third question, what effects is COVID having on serotonin and endorphin levels? This is really important, guys. And number 4 is, how can you increase your serotonin and endorphin levels and maybe help somebody else do the same?
Yes.
So those are the 4 questions that we're going to be answering. You have anything you want to say before we get started?
No, looking forward to it.
Okay, awesome.
Got
Me
some good
too.
Stuff for this episode.
Right. So question number 1 is, what are serotonin and endorphins? So we've already been talking a lot about what hormones are, that they are really important messengers. Most of them are considered neurotransmitters that carry messages throughout your body from one place to another with really, it's really important stuff that they do.
It does.
The conversation
very
has
important.
to
The two-way
happen.
communication with your body and all of your biochemical systems is incredibly, incredibly important if wellness is your goal, and we hope that it is for all of you.
Yeah, so both of the hormones that we're talking about today are considered neurotransmitters. So they carry important messages from one place to another. It doesn't always start with the brain either, which was really interesting. I learned that today.
Yes, thank you for that prompting. So on episode 9, when we were talking about dopamine, I was actually incorrect. I said dopamine was produced the majority of dopamine was produced in the GI tract. That is not true. I was actually mistaken. It is serotonin. I oftentimes get serotonin and dopamine confused because they work against each other. Actually, they balance each other out. One is excitatory, one is inhibitory, and I'll get into that a little bit more in detail, but I needed to make that correction. So if you listen to episode 9 and you heard me talking about dopamine being produced in the intestines, in the GI tract, that is incorrect. But what is correct, 70% of your serotonin in your body is produced in your gut, not your brain, though it's most beneficial and utilized in your brain, or you notice it much more when it's something to do with cognition or mental function, but it's also extremely important in gut health.
Yeah. And then when we talk about the endorphins are really important because they're directly connected to pain response,
Yes.
Reward responses, enjoyment levels.
All kinds of stuff.
They really determine what we're going to decide to do next, because we really do the things that we enjoy and that we, get good fuzzy feelings from,
Yes.
right? And endorphins have everything to do with that. So that's, really important to know that anything that makes you feel good gives you an endorphin rush.
Yeah. And
right.
What endorphins are, endorphin is actually a compound word. It means endogenous morphine. Morphine, as you know, is an extremely powerful psychoactive pain reliever. A lot of times people at the end of life they use morphine. Endogenous means made inside your body or made by your body. So endorphins are endogenous, made by your body, morphine. So endorphins are endogenous morphine. So in other words, morphine made by your body for your benefit.
So it's natural feel good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the natural stuff. So now moving into question number 2, because we have a lot to cover today. So,
well, we didn't really. Okay, go ahead.
So if you want to talk more about what they are, we really have kind of covered them throughout the other happy hormones too, because, serotonin, like you said, serotonin and dopamine can actually be easily confused because of their responsibilities and their jobs.
Well, they can be easily confused by lay people, and people that are trying to describe what they're for. They're very, very opposite in the body. So when they react in the body, they're not easily confused.
Okay, so then explain that a little bit more then.
So if you can imagine a teeter-totter, we've all played on a teeter-totter when we were kids. As one goes up, the other goes down. As one goes up, the other goes down. That's what happens with serotonin and dopamine, because one is inhibitory, one is excitatory. So dopamine is exciting. Dopamine stimulates our nerve cells and causes excitable action in the brain. Serotonin does not. Serotonin is inhibitory, meaning it is balancing out dopamine. So they are meant to be, they're not antagonistic, they're very complementary. And so they balance each other out. But one of the problems that leads to cognition issues, mental issues, things that people, especially depression, is when they're out of balance. So when serotonin is low, then dopamine is not being minimized, and we have episodes of mania, episodes of depression as it goes back and forth in between. So the inhibitory ones are to actually balance out or buffer the excitatory ones. So dopamine is excitatory, serotonin is inhibitory. They work well together, and their entire role is to balance each other. It's when they get out of balance that where problems lie.
So they're balancing transmitters. They're balancing their neurotransmitters one to each other. Like you said, it's like that balancing act on the teeter-totter, like we used to do when we were kids, trying to balance it out in the center.
Or when you have grandkids and you do it as adults.
Yeah, which will be happening today. It is Friday. So question number 2 now. So why are serotonin and endorphins so important?
Well, first of all, alluding to what I was just talking about with balance, they're very important if you want balance. And when you have balance in your life, you have normal. It's actually, the term for it is called homeostasis. That is the balance of your body. Not too high, not too low, right in the middle. It's kind of like, what was that? Porridge? It's like just right. So you're looking for the porridge that's just right. In this case, it's happy
three
chemicals,
bears,
happy hormones.
Yes. And the 3 bears.
Which one was the one that had it was just right?
The middle, or the little.
The little baby. So this is the little bear version of happy chemicals in your body, balancing them out. And when you are out of balance, whether it's too high, which you can be, or too low, which you can be, we start having issues. We get off the spectrum. And so it's the whole purpose. Why they're important is because we all want to be well. Wellness is the whole purpose of our show. Wellness is the whole purpose of what we should be striving for in life. And when we are balanced in our chemistry, especially our biology as it relates to happy hormones, then the better health expression we're going to have. And that's why they're so important, because wellness is important to us. And our goal is to balance them and keep them at normal levels.
Okay, so now let's separate the two, since we are talking about 2 different ones today. And let's talk specifically about serotonin and why it's so important, because I know that serotonin, and by the way, guys, this is all through investigation. And when we talk about investigation, that means that we're going out we're learning too, because we want our most optimal wellness going forward, which means we have to be tweaking things and doing things different all of the time as well. And so this is really kind of a path that we're on together. So we're just doing the investigations. We're giving you some ideas for you to continue your learning process from, and to, you know, take a couple things here and there to be able to implement into your life. But getting back to serotonin really is mood regulation.
It is.
If you have the perfect balance, you should have like a balanced mood. But if you have too much serotonin, what can happen? If you have too much.
It's very unusual to have too much serotonin. It's more than usual. It's more usual. It's never usual. It's more common to have not enough. And when you have not enough, then the other side of it, the dopamine, which is excitatory, tends to get off the charts, and you have unwanted things like mania, unwanted things like psychosis and so the whole purpose as far as balance is concerned is again the objective and what we're striving for with normal serotonin.
Well, and ultimately, especially with what's going on in the world today, low serotonin leads to depression.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I think it's really important for people to know that if you're feeling depressed, maybe start taking a look at what you can do to raise your serotonin levels.
Yeah.
Because that might be something that's beneficial to you.
And just as a general rule, dopamine, the purpose for it, because it's excitatory, is focus, to help you focus and concentrate. And with serotonin, the whole purpose of it, because it's inhibitory, is to help you be calm and calm, not depressed. So and here's something interesting that we learned, especially, and actually we'll save it for the next question. But why serotonin and endorphins are so important is because mental health and cognition are extremely important to someone's well-being, especially now when there's just living life. I mean, you just have to watch the one episode of evening news and you'll get depressed just by that because of all the things that are happening.
Shut it off, guys.
So it's when you get negative in, you get negative out. And when you get negative in, it actually changes your chemistry to negative. So that's one of the, so sheltering yourself from negativity or pessimism is a great way of increasing your serotonin levels just by doing that. And being optimistic is another way of increasing your serotonin levels.
Yeah. So the thing is, guys, is if you have low serotonin, you can be depressed, which means if you have balanced serotonin, that means you've got happiness, you've got joy, you've got excitement, you've got just a forward-looking outlook. You got all the good things. So that's the importance of serotonin, as well as it has a lot to do, you already mentioned, with sleep and sleep cycles, has to do with sexual function. I just said sex.
It also has to do with sexual function.
Yeah.
And don't forget sexual function.
And also bone health, guys.
Blood health too.
Yeah, blood clotting, right?
Clotting.
So healing process. It's really important to have the proper levels.
And sexual health.
And well, yes, there's that sex
There's
thing
always
again.
that.
Yep.
Mood.
Yep.
Digestion, because again,
thank you
70%
for there.
of serotonin is made in the intestines, the gut tube, the GI tract. Digestion is critical for serotonin. Yeah,
well, and serotonin levels, it not only has a lot to do with your eating habits, your drinking habits, your exercise.
Yeah.
Exercise has to do with
Mood
it.
Too.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, then there's sexual intercourse.
That too.
Yeah. So guys, just in case you didn't hear that, serotonin is really important in the coupling process. The coupling process.
The coupling process. Good choice of words. I like that.
Right. Okay. So in with endorphins as well, you know, the more things that you can do that make you feel good, the more endorphins you're going to have. So just so you know, if something feels good to you, and I'm not talking about in the bedroom right now, I am talking about in general, if something feels good to you, then it is going to be helping you with your endorphin levels. Yeah, he's got dry mouth now, all this talk. Okay, so let's talk now a little bit more. And by the way, I hopped into endorphins on that one. That was all endorphins there. But endorphins also, endorphins are really important for during pregnancy. It helps to minimize discomfort and pain sensations, whether going through childbirth or if you've been injured or you've got something going on in your life that's causing you those problems. It also helps you to,
What?
I'm trying to think of exactly what I was going to think. You know what? My brain, you know what? One of these has something to do with your brain and your memory too. And we're going to be getting to that in just a second. So I'm excited to really dive deeper into our investigation on that, because I know so many people during this pandemic that we've been going through, because of the surge of the ups and the downs in these happy hormones, but also in our lives in general. Stress is a big time issue with your happy hormones, and stress is a big time issue with memory problems too. So just stress, something that I was learning.
Stress kills you on so many levels.
Yeah, for real. So endorphins alleviate depression, anxiety, and so many other things that those lead to.
And they're made by your body. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is. It's so cool. What would you like to add to that question, if anything?
What's the next question?
Move on. Question number 3. What effects is COVID having on serotonin and endorphin levels? Guys, all of our happy hormones, the dose, remember your dose that you need to be making sure that you're getting your daily dose of your dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. That it's all being affected by COVID, because all 4 of those are dependent on social interaction. That means person to person. It doesn't mean, person to technology, person to cell phone. No, it doesn't mean person to going on a walk with your mask on. That doesn't do anything for you on many different levels. So when we're talking about COVID and these happy hormones, I would say that they're on the extreme opposite ends of the spectrum for being good for each other.
Yeah. Pandemic situations, masks, social distancing are all very, very counterproductive and debilitating of happy hormones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what the COVID situation, I just called it the COVID. I hate that. What COVID has done is it's eliminated your opportunity to do most of the things that made you feel good. Most of the things that you got your rewards from, going out to lunch with your friends and laughing and joking and having a good time. Or even if you're an athletic person, participating in outside sports, or even inside sports, basketball, volleyball, having to stay away from people kind of creates a problem, right? Or even if you go to watch a sports event, it's completely a different environment, because you don't get to feed off of the energy of the people sitting right next to you, because there's like 6, chairs in between you that are empty now, which is just crazy, right? So COVID has had such a huge effect on all of these happy hormones. Let's see, what else have I got written here? Because there was so much that came in here. Oh, and by the way, guys, all of this is leading to higher depression, higher anxiety, lower self-esteem, not just in adults, but in teens. Okay. Which also means that we have got the highest level of suicide now than ever before.
Divorces too.
Oh gosh. Yeah. And abuse.
It's horrible.
Abuse cycles, abuse situations amongst adults and amongst children. So many things. COVID is affecting it. Our happy hormones are at an all-time low, I think.
So we can reverse the tide on that.
Yeah. So
get our happy back on.
That's what question number 4 is all about, is what can we do about that? How can we increase these happy hormones? How can we get our serotonin and our endorphin levels up? It's like, what can we do? What can we do?
Should we start with serotonin?
Sure.
Let's do that.
Well, I don't know. I think I want to I want to throw just a little bit of controversy out there first. Okay. Can I?
You're not a stranger to controversy. So
and guys, just know that this is coming from my heart, that I love and care about every single one of you. And you have to do what's right for you. What you believe in your heart is right for you. Not necessarily what someone else is telling you have to do, but what you know in your heart and your intuition is right for you. Okay. So this is the deal, guys. When it comes to this pandemic, if you're sick, stay home. Okay. If you're sick, stay home. That makes sense, right? Makes sense. But if you're well, what the hell? What are we doing? What the hell are we doing? We're putting on masks. And do you know what these masks do? It makes it so that you are breathing your own recycled air. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a poisoning if you consume it into your own body. Masks are making well people sick. I absolutely agree with sick people protecting themselves and protecting others. If they have to go somewhere, put on your mask, do your social distancing, and let's protect each other. Let's love each other, okay? But let's make sure that you understand that if you are well and you're wearing a mask everywhere, there are some places that is absolutely required, which is, okay, we'll leave that right there. We'll leave that right there.
Yeah.
But what we want you to know is if you're driving down the road and you're in your own car by yourself and you have a mask on, you're making yourself sick.
Yes, you are.
If you're out in outside environment, the wind's blowing, it's a beautiful day, there's nobody around you, and you're walking down the road or the sidewalk or out in the park with a mask on, you're making yourself sick. Okay. So that's, I mean, that right there. And a lot of it has to do with fear. And by the way, if you have fear and if you have a lot of fear, then that's also driving down your happy hormones.
Yes, it is.
So, okay.
True
so we can get off of that. And
you know what though? Yeah, but I want to add some clarity to that.
Yeah, please.
So that we're not extremely sounding controversial.
Yeah.
But there is significant truth to that. And how do I know that? If you look at the people that are now, the people are following the authorities, if you will, and I'm just going to mention three: Dr. Fauci, the CDC, and the WHO, the World Health Organization. If you go back to February and March of last year and see what Dr. Fauci, the World Health Organization, and the CDC were all saying about mask wearing, they were saying it's not necessary if you are not sick. If you are healthy, it's actually counterproductive to be wearing masks. They don't recommend you wear masks when you're sick. But then politics happen, money happens, greed happens, making money off of PPE happens, and the entire narrative gets switched. Yeah. So there is science to back up that wearing a mask is toxic for you. Mm-hmm. You're breathing in your own waste products. You're breathing in carbon dioxide. In fact, I heard somebody the other day talking about it. What do they call it when you go in your car, you start the car engine and you shut the garage door and leave the car engine running? People use that as a way of killing themselves because they're breathing in toxic exhaust. You're doing the exact same thing with your mask on. So if you are sick, make your own decision. But if you just do a Google search on Dr. Fauci, World Health Organization, and CDC opinion on mask wearing when you're healthy, and you go back to February, March of 2020, you'll see a whole different story. And they're talking about science. And there was very direct questions to these people, to these individuals, the heads of these individuals, the heads of the organization, CDC, WHO, and Dr. Fauci, all said, it's counterproductive. You should not wear a mask if you're healthy. Mm-hmm. And now look where we all are. So again, that's not conspiracy theory.
No, it's not.
But it is controversial. Mm-hmm. But it makes sense only if you're listening to other authorities and you're not using your own brain and you're not using your own common sense. So think about breathing in your own exhaust. Why do they tell you when you have a laundry bag, when you pick up a laundry bag from the dry cleaners, do not put this over a child's head. Do not put your head over this bag. It's warning labels all over the place. Why? Because you're breathing in your own carbon dioxide. You're breathing in your own poisons. That's why you could suffocate yourself. Same kind of a situation. And the whole thing about masks anyway, when you're wearing a bandana, the particles, the micron size,
and that's going a whole different direction.
We're going in a whole different tangent.
However, so one thing I do want you guys to know that when we're doing this wellness foreplay, it's completely to get you thinking.
To get you thinking, asking your own questions.
It's completely to get you making decisions for yourself, right? And so I just want to throw one more thing out there before we get off of this mask situation, is that, COVID is something that they say attacks the lungs, right? Mm-hmm. And a weaker lung is going to be more susceptible to having the bigger problems with this virus, right? And what happens when you wear a mask all of the time and you're breathing in that rancid air is that it goes somewhere. Where does the air go that you breathe? It goes into your lungs. And when there's foreign particles in that air that you're breathing, they get lodged into the inside part of your lungs. And then it starts to create problems, including fungus and different things, bacteria that can grow that create weakness inside of your lungs. And then people start to have problems with COVID. Okay, so understand that if you are well, what the hell? Take off the freaking masks every single time that you can.
I'll high five you on that one.
Thank you. Now let's move on to serotonin.
How can you increase your serotonin?
How can you?
You can.
Go ahead. You can have sex.
Sex? Yes. Thank you. I was hoping we would not forget that.
I knew he had to get back into that conversation. Go ahead, doctor.
So. Serotonin is also called 5-HT, which stands for 5-hydroxytryptophan. tryptamine. There is supplements you can take like 5-HTP, which stands for 5-hydroxytryptophan. Speaking of tryptophan, there is a large bird that people tend to consume around Thanksgiving that sounds like gobble, gobble, gobble when it's alive. But when it's on your plate, it's filled with tryptophan. And L-tryptophan is an amino acid that helps your body produce serotonin by turning it into the 5-HTP, which is the precursor to 5-HT, which is serotonin.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, serotonin, there's a lot of foods that can really increase.
That's turkey, by the way.
Serotonin, yeah, right. And turkey is one of those foods. And we have a really amazing list of these foods, and
some good ones.
I'll run through some of them really quickly. But just so you know, if you go to Dondi and Marcy Nettles on YouTube, we always put all of our show notes in the comments of the videos when we upload it. And so you can go and you can get this whole list, all this information, just right there on the YouTube channel. Makes it easy for you to gather this information so that you can really implement it simply. Okay. So some of those foods that help to naturally increase and actually contain serotonin is, well, you already mentioned the tryptophan. But there's also there's L-tryptophan, there's vitamin B6, vitamin D, omega fatty acids, or some of the nutrients. But then when we get to the actual foods, how about bananas? You've got beans like chickpeas, kidney, pinto, and black beans are all great for serotonin and contain serotonin. And then you've got eggs, leafy greens such as spinach and kale. How about nuts and seeds like walnuts and flaxseed? And then there's the oily fatty fishes, salmon, tuna and mackerel. Yeah, you know, and guys, and just so you know, it's like I'm plant-based. I eat vegetarian, you know, I eat very little meat type products, like eggs I will consume. But I actually broke down this last week because I felt like I was missing something. And so I went and we had some salmon. You know, so we cooked up some salmon.
Salmon.
And yes, just make sure it is that fresh,
not farm
and
raised.
line caught. Yeah, for sure. But you have to listen to your body, right? Because when you start having deficiencies or depletions, you need to listen to your body and you need to give it what it needs.
Yeah, you are more accurate with deficiencies because depletions would be very problematic.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's where the doctor comes in into play here. And then you've got your probiotics and your fermented foods, kefir. Right? Kefir, yogurt, tofu, kombucha.
Yeah, fermented stuff. Yes.
Yeah, all those fermented things.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah. So anything like that, you can actually increase your serotonin levels by consuming those foods.
One of my favorites was, we mentioned the raw material, the raw ingredient, but hummus.
Oh.
Hummus, because hummus to me, I love adding all kinds of things to hummus, like chopped up cilantro or some cumin powder or
garlic,
some garlic or some roasted red bell peppers and all kinds of stuff. So yes.
Lots of ways to
hummus is extremely versatile.
It's so good. Okay, and then there's activities, exposure to the sun.
Vitamin D
can help with that, and then exercise is really good. Go ahead.
We can't forget about sex.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, that can kind of be exercise sometimes.
It can.
And then you've already talked about the 5-HTP and the others. And then what about massage?
Massage, yes. Personal care, personal touch, massage. If it's whether it's your love language or not, personal touch, massage is very good to help relax, to help put you in a calming mood, and then thus secrete serotonin in your gut, and then have the impact on your brain.
Yeah, and personal care is really important.
It's also for massage too, is really good for endorphins.
Yeah,
feel good.
Exactly. And well, and now we're moving into endorphins and how we can actually increase those as well. And we've talked about this one on the other 2 episodes that have been part of Happy Hormones, and that is acts of kindness.
Acts of random kindness.
Acts of random kindness.
Get it out. Get it out.
It's ARC, not rack. ARC. Acts of random kindness.
Well, you can say random acts of kindness.
Yeah. ARC.
The acronym works better as ARC though.
So he thinks. But all right. So yes, it does. But the thing is that when you do something kind for somebody else, your endorphins go off. And not only do they go off for you, they go off for the person that you're doing the act of kindness for. And they go off for anybody that happens to witness it.
Yeah, I need to talk about that.
You do. Go for it.
It is such an absolutely phenomenal thing that happens. And this is something where just holding someone's door open as they're walking up to the grocery store, or if somebody is walking and they drop something, like they drop their wallet or they drop a pen, reaching down, picking it up and giving it to them, any form of kindness. Here's the amazing thing that happens. Yes. Here's the amazing thing that happens with kindness. When you do something kind for someone, and you know it's a kind gesture, you're doing it out of your altruistic heart, you're being selfless and you're serving someone else in that brief capacity. When you do that act of kindness, big, small, doesn't matter, their endorphin levels increase by 600%.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's amazing. That's the recipient of the act of kindness. But it gets better, like Marcy said. The person who's doing it, in this case, if you're the one doing the act of kindness, your endorphins raise by 600%.
Win-win.
So win-win. And like Marcy said, if somebody is witnessing or the observer of that act of kindness, their endorphin levels go up 600%. How amazing is it to have a three-dimensional, 3D effect of a 600% increase of endorphins by one single act of kindness? And it doesn't stop there. Marcy and I, prior to going live today, we were talking about something I used to do when I was a kid. When I was 12 and 13 years old, it was part of my weekly chores to mow the lawn. But we lived in our front yard was connected to our neighbor's front yard. There was no curb, there was no fence, there was just one continuous piece of grass. And sometimes it was difficult for me to figure out where the fence line was because I would have to look from where the grass is and go all the way back to our house. And I just decided one day, I'm just going to go continue. I'm going to mow both of our grass. Turns out that this guy, he was a single dad struggling with his daughter. He had a young daughter, and he came over and thanked me for doing it. And I didn't do it for the thanks. I did it because it was less stressful for me to mow his yard too, than to try to stress about where does his property end and mine begin, and all the conundrum trying to figure out where's the property line. It was easier just to mow both lawns. But I remember that he came over and made a big deal about it. And I would do it almost all the time. And this is something that happened 43 years ago. And even thinking and recalling that memory, I could feel it happen. I welled up with tears as I was telling Marcy the story. And so when you can do something and then have the same benefit 43 years later by the same act, just recalling that act, that is powerful. That's how powerful a simple, single act of random kindness can be when someone else is, even if they're deserving, or if it's something you're just doing out of the altruistic nature of your own heart. Kindness, think about this. Because of that three-dimensional nature, what if everybody went on a 30-day pay it forward challenge?
That'd be awesome.
And every day we decided to do 3 things, 3 acts of kindness, random acts of kindness for people. We're going to have a 3-dimensional benefit in every single one of those. What if it stimulated the person who got it? They're going to pay it forward. They're going to go do something for someone else. And all of the observers that are happening in 30 days, how much amazingness could we shed around this world just simply by doing acts of random kindness and having a 3-dimensional benefit over a 30-day period? I think we would produce so much endorphins and literally change the vibe on the planet, especially now.
Yeah, I love that. It's like the drip in the pond, the ripple effect.
Ripple effect,
right? Yeah. Because when you do a random act of kindness or an act of random kindness,
just do something good for someone else.
For somebody else, that endorphin drip that they get, it actually makes them want to do the same thing for somebody else as well. Yeah. And so it really does. It goes out just like that ripple effect from a drip of water. So I love that.
And the other thing, because it's an act of kindness, there's not going to be any guilt attached to it. It's not like you're paying somebody's mortgage and now they feel obligated every time they see you or they feel awkward. It's simply an act of kindness, random act of kindness, act of random kindness, however you want to look at it. It's amazing. Let's just do more of it.
Yeah. And then how about dark chocolate and
wine?
Dark
chocolate, yes.
And together, dark chocolate and wine.
I heard.
It's amazing. He knows better than just tea.
Dark chocolate and red wine is an aphrodisiac.
That leads to.
Serotonin and endorphin release because of the sexual nature of it. I knew it. I'll take 500 for the audio daily double, Alex.
Nice. Good job. Good job. So these are all ways that you can raise those levels. And then you've also got moving your body, exercise, listening to music, dancing, right?
Watching movies, laughing.
Yes. Yeah.
Comedy.
Anything that makes you feel good, anything that makes you smile, anything that makes you laugh, anything that gives you the warm and fuzzies, or how about those
Goosebumps. Yes.
Yeah. Anything that gives you those is increasing these levels. And then of course the personal care. You got to make sure you're taking care of yourself. So how about the hot sauna?
The hot sauna, that'd be good.
Yeah. Massages. Yeah, all of those things. Anything that makes you feel good, guys, is going to help you increase your happy hormones.
Yes.
And it's important. It's so important to be taking care of yourself.
Which means go do it.
Yeah. So wellness foreplay this week, these last 3 episodes have all been focused on the happy hormones. And we hope that we've given you some empowering information, because we know that knowledge is the foreplay to your wellness, right? For you to be able to pick a few things out of these last 3 episodes that you can apply into your life today. That will not only affect you and your happiness, your health, your joy, but all of those people around you that are witnessing it will also enjoy those same benefits.
How cool is that?
Guys, we know that our happy hormones are affected by a lot of things, okay? They're affected by gut health. They're affected by supplements that you can take, activities that you participate in. We have our own special daily regimen of activating products that we take every single day. And we know it's the reason why our aging process has been slowed down and we're feeling better and better every single day as we're aging, right? Isn't that what everybody wants? But
it is what everybody wants.
I think we have a special offer for the first 5 people. What do you think?
Yes. Tell them about it.
Okay, so this is the deal, guys. You go to dondiandmarcy.com, and the first 5 people that requested additional information on what we do personally to help us with our happy hormones and this journey that we're on with our wellness, the first 5 people that ask for that information, we'll be able to give you a discount code for $10 off an order of these amazing products that we are actually using ourselves. So just go to dondiandmarcy.com. There's the comment section there that you can reach out to us, and would also love to know your show ideas, would love to know any questions you have about the information that we shared today and in any of the previous episodes. But remember, first 5 that reach out are going to get that $10 discount code. All right, guys. So again, Dondi and Marcy Nettles, this has been Wellness Foreplay episode number 11.
Yes.
And again, dondiandmarcy.com. You can also go to Dondi and Marcy Nettles on YouTube to be able to subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notifications, and check out all the show notes from the information we shared today, because we know it was a lot. We know this was a longer episode, so thanks for sticking to us.
Yes, we appreciate you all.
Sticking to us like Velcro.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. All right, guys, take care.
See you on episode 12. God bless everybody.